What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Talkin Sports with Jake. Hope we're all doing well. I'm sure you can hear my voice sounds a little different. Getting over a cold slash sinus infection, so I'm gonna be clearing my throat throughout this podcast, and I'm gonna sound a little bit lower because of that. So keep that in mind. Start off with a little bit of basketball. The Thunder have matched the 2-year, $12 million offer sheet that the Thunder had put out to Spencer Jones. I think this is kind of a chestnut checkers move for the Thunder. Nuggets are one of their obviously rivals in the Western Conference. They see blood in the water with them struggling to come to terms with Peyton Watson at the moment. They have just dumped Jonas Valanciunas in the last year of his deal just to not be, really suffering under this tax apron. And they figured, Spencer Jones is a guy who's expendable. But because he's only going to be 25, they probably want to keep him probably as close to a veteran minimum as possible. I'll offer him $6 million a year. Mhm. It's a perfect number because now if Denver matches, it puts them in a tough spot. And if they don't match, it's not like OKC is stuck with a horrible contract. That's $6 million a year for over 2 years for a 25-year-old. He averaged 5 points a game last year in 22 minutes a game. Took 64 games, 37 starts. He shot 39% from three on about 2 attempts a game. He shot 50% from the field overall on 4 field goal attempts a game. So he wasn't shooting the ball a whole lot. But when he did was pretty efficient. If that volume increases, maybe there's something there. But so he comes back to Denver. Denver's not deep in the tax. Try to bring back Peyton Watson. I read they offered him 5 years of like $70 million. I believe he declined. A couple of teams are trying to work out a Simon trade. Same, I know a couple of guys like that. I know Jonathan Kuminga is in that position as well. Atlanta declined his option. So we'll see what happens with a couple of these guys, but that's where the Nuggets stand with Peyton Watson. The Philadelphia 76ers are signing Contavious Caldwell Pope on a 1-year deal worth $3.9 million. Typical LeBron team, bunch of washed up clutch clients. KCP has had a nice career. He won a championship in Denver a few years ago, and where he was very productive that year. He averaged almost 11 points a game and shot 42% from three. To me, I don't know what he has left. He's going to be 33 years old. It's not that big deal for Orlando 2 years ago. Wasn't great. His trade to Memphis and Desmond Bain trade was hurt a bunch last year. Didn't play all that great. Averaged 8 points a game and 21 minutes a game. He shot 31% from three and a little to 3.5 attempts a game. He's going to be 33 years old. A little better fit for him in Philadelphia. At least he could be out there with Jaylen Brown and Tyrese Maxey, BJ Edgecombe. Some combination of those guys. So he'll have more open looks. So maybe he can get a little closer to what he was in Denver, but I don't think he'll ever shoot over 40% from three again. I think he'll be a lot closer to the 31, 32% guy he's been the last 2 years in Orlando and in Memphis. But KCP goes to Philadelphia on a 1-year deal. The Cavs are bringing Mario Hezonja back from Europe. Hezonja is on a 1-year, $2.8 million deal. Hezonja last played in the NBA back in 2020 for Portland when he averaged 4 points a game in 53 games. He was a top 5 pick by Orlando from the EuroLeague back in 2015. He's from Croatia. Never turned into anything. His best year of his career came his last year in Orlando in 2018 when he averaged 9 points a game, shot 44% from the field, 33% from three. He played for the Knicks in 2019, was on that very bad 2019 Knicks team. Actually was pretty good, averaged 8, almost 9 points, only got 4 rebounds. He shot 41% from the field, only 27% from three. He had that when he posterized, I think it was LeBron in a regular season game. And then the following year, he played for Portland. Didn't quite play quite as much. He averaged almost 21 minutes a game in 2019 with the Knicks. The following year in Portland, he only averaged 16 minutes a game. He's gone back over to the EuroLeague and played well. I think over the last like 6 years, he's averaged like 13 points a game, something like that. So he's been a solid player over there. And it's weird. He made some negative comments about the NBA when he left, and I am surprised that he's rejoined the NBA, but he's going to be in Cleveland this year. He's had the 1 year deal. Off the football, the Arizona Cardinals finally end the probably the most pathetic holdout in the history of football in Jacoby Brissett, a replacement level quarterback. He gets a new deal. He'll make $15.5 million a year. Incentives could bring him to 21 million. I mean, I don't know why he was holding out. He had no leverage in that. That was stupid. He's only a star because Arizona's tanking this year. I'm not sure what they were trying to do with that. The Vikings signed Jamal Adams, who played linebacker for the Raiders last year. He does this every year. He tries to make some sort of comeback. He's the Conor McGregor of the NFL at this point. And he'll be on the roster. I'll play sparingly for a few games. In week 6, they'll cut him. Who cares? Guy's beyond wash. Never, to be honest, he was never that good to begin with. Could ever cover now. And then now he's trying to play linebacker. Yeah. Good luck. Vita Vea has requested a trade from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Vita Vea is one of the premier defensive tackles in the sport. Has been for quite a while. He was a first round pick by Tampa back in 2018. He was a two-time Pro Bowler last year. He had 34 tackles and 4.5 sacks and two pass defenses. For a guy his size, he is. If I can pull up his. About He was the 12th pick in 2018. He's a massive man. Let's hope I can get his. Yeah, he's 6'4", 347. And for him to be as good of a pass rusher as he is incredible. He's gonna be 31 years old. He's been trying to get a new deal, and he is in the last year of his deal. He's due $22.1 million this year. Then he will be a free agent after the season. He has requested a trade. It came out that the Bucks have not been able to agree on a contract extension with Baker Mayfield, their starting quarterback, who was in the last year of his deal. I read he is expected to play on the last year of his deal, and he'll be unrestricted free agent after the season. If you're Tampa, if you're not a real contender, which you're not, I said before, they're the Pittsburgh Steelers of the NFC. Why Todd Bowles is still the head coach, I don't know. Jason Licht's a goofball. Much older team. I think you look to go in a different direction. I would honestly trade Vita Vea. You might get a first round pick for him. There's a loaded class this coming year, especially at the quarterback position. Could be the greatest quarterback draft ever. Get a first round pick for Vita Vea. I would even trade Baker Mayfield. I'd call up whoever, Minnesota. Team that has a bunch of talent, but quarterback situation's a little murky. You're still hanging on to JJ McCarthy. You brought in Kyler Murray, but it's not for a lot of money. You bring in uh maybe a Baker for Kyler swap is on the table. They sign Baker to an extension, get some an upgraded quarterback, turns Minnesota from maybe a fringe playoff team in my opinion, at best to at least a surefire playoff team if you ask me with Baker Mayfield. Maybe you get Kyler and some mid rounders. Maybe you'll get a first or second for him. Just try and load up on some early round picks in this coming draft and maybe the draft afterwards. And really looked to retool was a much older roster because you're not winning anything with this group. I'm sorry, but Vita Vea has requested a trade out of Tampa Bay. We're going to jump to baseball before we end the show. As I mentioned at the top of this, my throat and really my whole body is still kind of bothering me, so I'm gonna keep things a little short today. The Red Sox are made a trade with the Washington Nationals. They traded left-hander starting pitcher Conley Early to the Washington Nationals for Curtis Mead. When I first read this, I was like, "What is Boston doing?" Conley Early, although he is hurt, is only 24 years old, and he's having a great year. He only has 21 career starts under his belt. Why would you trade him for Mead, who has had a good year? But it's not a major need for you. But I thought more about it. I think this makes sense for them actually. I think it's not going to be a win-win for both sides. Early is a good pitcher. He's only 24. He's already very good. When he's hurt, Dude, Boston has so many lefties. You have him. Crochet's hurt, but he's obviously the race when he's healthy. Jake Bennett has come up and pitched fantastically. He's a lefty. Peyton Tolay's had a great first full year in the big leagues. He's a lefty. So they just have way too many lefties. Carter Crawford, if he can ever get healthy, he's a lefty. So there's just too many left-handers in Boston. They need to move up with at least one on at some point. And you do so, you still have a point you're starting pitching. Tolay's been great. Bennett's been great. Ritter Suarez has been probably the best move Craig Breslow has made outside of the Crochet trade. But I don't know what to think of Craig Breslow. Boston fans are either like act either are like stop hating on him, he's great, or they want his head. For what it's worth, he made the deal for Crochet. He gave up the prospects. He signed him to a really team-friendly deal. That's one of the five best stars in baseball when he's healthy. You Brandon Suarez deal, 130 million in the offseason has worked out very nicely for them. At first, the deal to trade Kyle Harrison away for Durbin in pieces didn't on paper didn't look so good when it happened. The beginning of the year it looked really bad. Durbin's played a lot better, so it looks a little better on paper now. It's not a complete loss at least. Yeah, the Denver trade is what it is, but I even think they got the best out of that, even though the main pieces from it, Kyle Harrison and James Tibbs, they traded away for Caleb Durbin. Dumping James Tibbs for Justin May was definitely a mistake, but he's done some good things, so it's something to think about. And Mead, he did get hurt in his first game last night for the Boston Red Sox. Came out with a wrist injury, we'll see what happened, but he's had a really great year. A guy who he came up with the Rays in 2023. He hit 250 with a 675 OPS and only 83 at bats. In 24, 122 at bats with the Rays. He hit 238 with 569 OPS. Last year, he started out not very good, ends up getting sent to the White Sox. He wasn't that much better overall last year in 240 at bats. He hit 233 for 620 OPS. Plus, had a complete breakout year in Washington at 25 years of age. He's going to be 26 in a few months. He's hitting 254, 17 home runs, 48 RBIs, and 852 OPS, 350 on base, 500 slugging, because completely broken out. But if he's healthy, he will be there over the second baseman going forward. And that's a good piece for you to pick up because he's very good now and is only going to get better. He's cheap for a while. Boston had way too many left-handed stars, and you had a need at second base. So you trade one of your left-handed stars, who's probably the most expendable and early because of his injury. You don't even know when he's coming back, though he is expected to be some point this season. For Mead, those need second base. For Washington, you have a surplus of young infielders over there. If Abrams, Luis Garcia is still over there. You had Mead, but you didn't have a ton of young starting pitching. And that you have a guy who, when healthy, could be a ace level starting pitcher from the left side in Connolly early. I think that will be a win-win trade for both. In the short term, I probably like it, honestly a little bit for Boston because they're always hurt right now. Long term, probably a win-win for both sides. Trade deadline is August 3rd, 29, 30, 31. I believe in 6 days. I believe it's Monday. It's August 3rd is. Some of the comments can correct me if I'm wrong. But if I talked about the deadline when I went over the MLB standings uh last week. I went to each team I think they're gonna do, buy, sell. These are my five biggest predictions heading into the deadline. Number five, the Mets are going to sell off their pending free agents, but they are not going to trade anybody who has at least one more year on their deal. Freddie Peralta is going to be a goner. A lot of teams really believe the Mets are responsible for his downturn this year. He's such a ground ball heavy pitcher, and they have a horrific defense behind him, especially in the infield. And also, it came out that they were using AI to like for pitch selection. That I'm sure messed with him, kill his confidence. So someone will definitely buy low on him. I can see the Cubs doing it. The two lefties in the bullpen, AJ Minter and Brooks Raley are definitely going to get moved. Brooks Raley has quality become honestly one of the best lefty relievers in baseball for these last 4 years. He's like a 2.3 ERA over the last 4 years, 4 or 5 seasons between Tampa and the Mets. And Minter has a sub 2 ERA since coming off the IL in I think May or June. So those guys will get moved. And they're trying to agree to an extension with Clay Holmes. He was pitching so well at the beginning of the year. I don't think they're going to be able to. He will probably get moved. And Luis Robert, I think they will get something for because he is healthy now. He's got the power. He's hit a couple of big home runs since he came off the IL. I think they will get something for him. Not a lot, but they'll get something. I don't think Luke Weaver gets moved. I think they'll have him close to them for you possibly next year. Devin Williams, no one's taking that. No one's taking all their other deals. Kawhi Senga is unmovable. So is Marcus Semien. So is Jorge Polanco. I don't think you'll get anything for Bo Bichette. I know there was rumors they were looking at trading both their catchers, Francisco Alvarez and Luis Torrens. I heard both are going to stay put. And I don't think they're going to move off Brett Beatty or Brian Mauricio. Mauricio's in the minors right now. Brett Beatty just doesn't have much value. I heard a lot of people think they're going to make 6 trades at least. I see 5. I'm not sure if I see a 6. But there will be a bunch of guys getting moved because the Mets suck. I think the Minnesota they're going to stand pat and they're going to try to make the playoffs. I don't think it's the right thing to do. You're not going to win with the score. I think you should sell high on Joe Ryan and Byron Buxton. I think you should flip Ryan Jeffers as well. Jeffers maybe he'll get moved because you do have Victor Caratini, who is a serviceable catcher behind him, and he's under contract next year. Caratini is an older player, but I think Buxton and Ryan are going to stay put because Minnesota is content with doing that. It seems. I think Philadelphia makes a move for an outfielder. I can see Joe Adele, who's a great defender and he's got some power. I could see that. Maybe you bring back Mickey Moniak, which would be a full circle moment. You was your first overall pick by you years ago. Never turned out. We up trading to the Angels for Brendan Marsh a few years ago. He ends up in Colorado and actually turned into a good player. I could see you bringing him back, but I do think they will make a move for an outfield bat. Number 2, I think the Tigers do trade Tarek Skubal. I know they've gotten hot over the last 2 months, but you're still on the outside looking in of the playoff field. I don't see you being a real contender once you completely go all in, which I don't think they will do. So many teams are interested. You should get a good return. Obviously, we've gotten more if you traded before the year or last year or something, but you will still get something good back for the most talented pitcher in the American League. So Skubal, I think, will get moved. And number 1, I think the Braves are going to make a big move for a starting pitcher. You've had a lot of injuries in that rotation this year, from Spencer Schwellenbach to Spencer Strider to Martin Perez. But you're still playing well in first place in the National League East. Second best team in the National League outside of the Dodgers right now. I could see them landing Tarek Skubal. I could see maybe Reed Dembers or Jose Soriano, another controllable frontline arm from the Angels coming over them. I think they will acquire a big name starting pitcher at the trade deadline. All right. That's all I got for you guys today. Until next time, so long and have a great day.